On February 21, 1613, following a period of political instability known as the Time of Troubles, the Zemsky Sobor, a national assembly, elected 16-year-old Mikhail Fyodorovich Romanov as Tsar of Russia. His election marked the establishment of the Romanov dynasty, which ruled Russia for over 300 years until the abdication of Nicholas II in 1917. Mikhail's reign brought relative stability to Russia after years of turmoil. His father, Patriarch Polaroid, who was released from Polish captivity in 1619, played a significant role in governing alongside his son. On February 21, 1804, British engineer Richard Trevithick demonstrated the first self-propelling steam locomotive at the Penwydyren Ironworks in Wales. This locomotive successfully hauled 10 tons of iron and 70 passengers over a distance of 9 miles from Penwydyren to the Merthyr-Cardiff Canal in about 4 hours, achieving speeds of nearly 5 miles per hour. Despite this groundbreaking achievement, the locomotive was deemed too heavy for the existing iron rails, leading to its limited use. Nevertheless, Trevithick's innovation laid the foundation for future developments in railway transportation. In February 1808, without a formal declaration of war, Russian troops crossed the border into Sweden at Aborfors in eastern Finland, initiating the Finnish War. This conflict resulted in Sweden ceding the eastern half of its territory, present-day Finland, to Russia under the Treaty of Frederikshamn in 1809. Consequently, Finland became an autonomous Grand Duchy within the Russian Empire, maintaining a degree of self-governance while under Russian control. On February 21, 1828, the inaugural issue of the Cherokee Phoenix was published. It was the first Native American newspaper and the first periodical to utilize the Cherokee syllabary, a writing system invented by Sequoyah. The newspaper played a crucial role in uniting the Cherokee people and preserving their language and culture during a time of significant upheaval and forced relocations. In 1842, John Greenough was granted the first U.S. patent for a sewing machine. His design featured a needle with an eye near the point, which passed completely through the fabric. Although Greenough's machine did not achieve commercial success, it represented a pivotal step in the development of sewing technology, paving the way for future innovations by inventors like Elias Howe and Isaac Singer. On February 21, 1848, Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels published the Communist Manifesto, a political pamphlet that presented their theories on society, economics, and politics. The manifesto advocated for the abolition of bourgeois supremacy and the establishment of a classless society. It has since become one of the world's most influential political documents, shaping various socialist and communist movements. On February 21, 1862, during the American Civil War, the Battle of Valverde was fought near Fort Craig in the New Mexico Territory. Confederate forces under General Henry Hopkins Sibley clashed with Union troops led by Colonel Edward Canby. Despite initial Confederate success, the battle did not lead to a decisive victory, and the Confederate campaign to control the Southwest ultimately failed. In 1874, the Oakland Daily Tribune published its first edition. Founded by George Staniford and Benet A. Dews, the newspaper served the Oakland, California community, providing news and information to its residents. Over time, it became a significant source of local journalism in the Bay Area. On February 21, 1878, the world's first telephone directory was issued in New Haven, Connecticut. Compiled by the District Telephone Company of New Haven, it listed 50 subscribers. This directory marked a significant milestone in telecommunications history, reflecting the rapid adoption of telephone technology. On February 21, 1885, the Washington Monument in Washington, D.C. was officially dedicated. Standing at approximately 555 feet, it was the world's tallest structure at the time. The monument honors George Washington, the first president of the United States, and remains a prominent landmark and symbol of the nation's capital. On February 21, 1896, an Englishman raised in Australia, Bob Fitzsimmons, fought an Irishman, Peter Marr, in a boxing match promoted by an American, which technically took place in Mexico. Fitzsimmons won the bout, claiming the 1896 World Heavyweight Championship. This event is notable in boxing history for its international participants and the circumstances surrounding its location. On February 21, 1916, during World War I, the Battle of Verdun began in France. It became one of the longest and costliest battles in history. Lasting until December 18, 1916, French and German forces suffered heavy casualties, with estimates of over 700,000 combined dead, wounded, or missing. The battle epitomized the brutal and grueling nature of trench warfare. On February 21, 1918, the last known Carolina parakeet, a male named Incas, died at the Cincinnati Zoo. Incas passed away in the same enclosure where Martha, the last passenger pigeon, had died in 1914. The Carolina parakeet was the only parrot species native to the eastern United States. Its extinction was primarily due to habitat destruction, hunting for its vibrant feathers, and persecution as an agricultural pest. The species was officially declared extinct in 1939. On February 21, 1921, the Constituent Assembly of the Democratic Republic of Georgia adopted the nation's first constitution. This progressive document established Georgia as a democratic republic, emphasizing human rights, social equality, and the political participation of its citizens. Notably, it granted universal suffrage, abolished the death penalty, and ensured the rights of minorities. Unfortunately, just days after its adoption, Soviet forces invaded Georgia, leading to the country's incorporation into the Soviet Union. On February 21, 1925, The New Yorker magazine released its inaugural issue. Founded by Harold Ross and his wife, Jane Grant, the magazine was initially intended to be a sophisticated humor publication. Over time, it evolved into a renowned weekly magazine known for its in-depth journalism, commentary, fiction, poetry, and iconic cartoons. The New Yorker has since become a significant cultural institution in American media. In 1937, during the Spanish Civil War, the League of Nations passed a resolution banning foreign nationals from volunteering in the conflict. This decision aimed to prevent the internationalization of the war and reduce external influence. Despite the ban, many individuals continued to join the international brigades to support the Republican cause, while others aided the nationalist forces, highlighting the limitations of the League's enforcement capabilities. On February 21, 1945, during the Battle of Iwo Jima in World War II, Japanese kamikaze pilots launched attacks against U.S. naval vessels. The escort carrier USS Bismarck C was sunk, resulting in significant loss of life. Additionally, the fleet carrier USS Saratoga was heavily damaged but managed to survive the encounter. These attacks underscored the intensity of the Pacific conflict and the desperation of Japanese military tactics in the war's final stages. On February 21, 1945, the Brazilian Expeditionary Force, FEB, achieved a significant victory against German forces in the Battle of Monte Castello, Italy. This battle was part of the Allied efforts to break through the Gothic Line and advance into northern Italy. The FEB's success at Monte Castello marked a pivotal moment in Brazil's military history and demonstrated its contribution to the Allied war effort. On February 21, 1947, inventor Edwin Land introduced the world to the first instant camera, known as the Polaroid land camera, during a meeting of the Optical Society of America in New York City. This groundbreaking device allowed users to take a photograph and have it developed within minutes, revolutionizing photography and leading to the widespread popularity of instant cameras in the mid-20th century. On February 21, 1948, the National Association for Stock Car Auto Racing, NASCAR, was officially incorporated. Founded by Bill France Sr., NASCAR was established to promote and oversee stock car racing in the United States. Over the decades, it has grown into one of the most popular motorsports organizations globally, known for events like the Daytona 500 and its unique blend of speed, strategy, and entertainment. In 1952, under the leadership of Prime Minister Winston Churchill, the British government decided to abolish the use of national identity cards. Originally introduced during World War II for security and administrative purposes, identity cards had become increasingly unpopular. Churchill's decision was framed as a move to restore civil liberties and reduce government intrusion into citizens' private lives. On February 21, 1952, students and activists at the University of Dhaka in East Pakistan, now Bangladesh, organized protests advocating for the recognition of Bengali as an official state language. The demonstrations were met with police violence, resulting in several deaths. This event became a pivotal moment in the Bengali language movement, eventually leading to the recognition of Bengali as a state language and contributing to the cultural and political identity that culminated in the independence of Bangladesh in 1971. On February 21, 1958, British artist and designer Gerald Holtham completed the design of the now iconic peace symbol. Commissioned by the Direct Action Committee Against Nuclear War for the First Aldermast in March, the symbol was intended to represent nuclear disarmament. Holtham's design combines the semaphore signals for the letters N and D, standing for nuclear disarmament, within a circle. He also described it as depicting a person in despair, with arms outstretched downward, inspired by Goya's painting The 3rd of May 1808. The symbol was first displayed publicly during the Easter weekend of 1958 and has since become a universal emblem for peace movements worldwide. On February 21, 1971, the Convention on Psychotropic Substances was signed in Vienna, Austria. This international treaty, formulated by the United Nations, aimed to control the distribution and use of psychotropic drugs such as hallucinogens, stimulants, and sedatives. The convention established a framework for the regulation of these substances, balancing their medical and scientific use with measures to prevent abuse and illicit trafficking. In a groundbreaking move to normalize relations between the United States and the People's Republic of China, President Richard Nixon visited China from February 21 to 28, 1972. This visit marked the first time a sitting U.S. president had traveled to China and led to significant shifts in international diplomacy. The meetings with Chairman Mao Zedong and Premier Zhou Enlai paved the way for improved Sino-American relations and had profound implications for the global balance of power during the Cold War. On February 21, 1995, adventurer Steve Fawcett became the first person to complete a solo flight across the Pacific Ocean in a balloon. He launched from South Korea and landed in Leader, Saskatchewan, Canada, covering approximately 5,430 miles. This feat was a significant milestone in aviation history and showcased Fawcett's determination and skill in long-distance ballooning. On February 21, 2022, amidst escalating tensions in Eastern Europe, Russian President Vladimir Putin declared the Luhansk People's Republic and Donetsk People's Republic as independent from Ukraine. Following this declaration, Russian troops were deployed into these regions. The move was widely condemned by the international community, including the United Nations, as a violation of Ukraine's sovereignty and territorial integrity, further intensifying the Russo-Ukrainian crisis.